Hi, and welcome to the PAFF Institute Virtual Summer Series, where we will talk to the people who work behind the scenes. PAFF Institute presents Behind the Scenes. Meet the industry experts and learn what it takes to work behind the scenes. I'm your host and moderator, J. Tasha St. Cyr, CEO and founder of Miss Everything Entertainment, a company that empowers women in front and behind the camera to produce and create entertainment for everyone. And I'm honored to be sitting here with these experts on how to work behind the scenes. So before I introduce our lovely panelists, I would first like to thank the Executive Director, Ayuku Babu and Asantwa Olutunni, for their vision and fortitude of the Pan African Film Festival for over 28 years. And also a special thank you to Linda Bronson Abbott for producing the PAF Institute Summer Series, where we get first-hand information from experts. So once this panel is over, those who can and are willing, please visit path.org to donate so we can continue to bring free education to everyone with all of these panels. I would like to say welcome and thank you for those who are watching from YouTube as well as Facebook. And make sure you drop your questions below and I will go ahead and read them off later. So now let's meet our panelists. First, I have production assistant Ty Nielsen. I have hairstylist Rhonda O'Neill. I also have LaFay Baker, stunt coordinator, Gabrielle Blackwood, director, and Cool Benson, makeup artist. So let me go ahead and introduce Ty Nielsen. Ty Nielsen is a jack of all trades with a keen sense of detail that has made her a leader behind the scenes of the entertainment industry. Ty completed her bachelor's degree at Prairie View University in Texas and quickly began working in the entertainment industry, where she moved back to California. Shortly after working on several production teams, she was able to land a job as a personal assistant to different celebrities such as Lisa Ray, Darius McCary, Aaron Lim, Nas, and many more. During that time, she gradually built a strong foundation with a great reputation in the industry. Ty has worked behind the scenes on several music festivals and production shows such as Keeping Up with the Kardashians, The Voice, Grammys, and the Emmys, most recently Emmys. So Ty, can you I know I just mentioned the Emmys, but can you tell us how is it working on the Emmys during COVID right now?
Well, working the Emmys was extremely hard and difficult for several reasons. We had to get tested not once, not twice, but 3 times. Pretty much we got tested every day once we walked onto the set. They were very cautious on how we speak with everyone. They had what they call a COVID police officer who monitored how close we were to everybody, how close we were to the talent, how close we were to the celebs, how close we were to the host. So it was definitely, usually working shows and you're on close range with the talented celebrities. You can speak to them. You can say hello. On this particular project of the Emmys, because of COVID, we were distant. So it was like you had to do your job and that was it. No extra socializing.
Okay. Well, I mean, COVID has definitely changed the game of production and behind the scenes and working nowadays. So we're definitely going to dive more into, being a production assistant, working on these sets, and just kind of how you got your path into where you are today. Because, working on shows such as Keeping Up with the Kardashians is definitely amazing. So I am so happy and so proud of you that you are able to let everyone know how you got to where you are. So let me go ahead and introduce my next panelist. I have amazing Rhonda O'Neill. She's a veteran hairstylist that has captivated the world with unforgettable styles. Rhonda O'Neill is known for her work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of Crystal Skull, and Pirates of the Caribbean at World End. With over 100 credits to her name, Miss O'Neill has styled the cast of TV shows such like How to Get Away with Murder, Modern Family, and her film resume includes Once Upon a Time. That was a really good film, and the makeup on that and the hairstyle, everything was super amazing. So, Miss Rhonda, can you let us know how you got into your path and being a hairstylist in the game for so long?
Oh, wow. I was actually asked by Marcel Bouvet if I could do one of her best friends, Sean Robinson from Access Hollywood. And when I started doing her in the salon, I didn't know anything about the union. But Sean Robinson, she actually worked as a field reporter on Access Hollywood. And that's how I basically got into the union, was through her. And the rest is history. I've just been doing so many. I've been very blessed to be able to be on so many different shows of different networks, and it just has really taken me to another level of wanting to help the community. And so that's why as you can see behind me, Beyond the Combs Academy, I built Beyond the Combs Academy to help prepare people of color as well as everybody to get into this industry.
Okay. That is super amazing. I also see that you were working on Star Trek in Hollywood and you were nominated for a Primetime Emmy in 2019 for your work on Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars is a unique show. It's a wonderful show, and there were some times that we would be doing one person, and five people would be on one head because we had to work so quickly. So it was teamwork. I really loved it.
Okay, so we definitely want to get into how you started your path. Did you always want to be a hairstylist, or was it something you fell into? And then how did you get behind the scenes of working on these amazing sets?
Well, actually, I wanted to go into becoming an architect. My mom was a hairstylist, so I ended up going in her direction, which I so love and so glad that I did, because once I got pregnant, there was nothing else that I wanted to do besides do hair. And I used to have a salon in Houston, and then I came here, and then I began the journey here in Hollywood.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're definitely going to talk more about your styles and some of the things you worked on in your path. So let me go ahead and introduce my next panelist. I do have LaFay Baker. LaFay Baker is the first African American stunt woman to coordinate a big budget project, HBO special introducing Dorothy Dandridge, starring Holly Berry. This was in 1999, and 21 years later, Baker is back with HBO, working as an assistant stunt coordinator on Issa Rae's Insecure. Faye has doubled over 50 of Hollywood's A-list talent, including Angela Bassett, Regina King, Regina Hall, Loretta Devine, Lynn Whitfield, Keisha Sharp, Vanessa Bell Calloway, and many more. She took on the riskiest of stunts in some of the biggest and big budget films and beloved TV shows, including Hannibal, Lethal Weapon, What's Love Got to Do with It, Scary Movie 2, Green Lantern, Fracture, House, Training Days, Last Ship, Family Reunion. You have a lot of credits. I am so happy to have you here. From TV shows, commercials, you definitely have to tell us more on how you became a stunt coordinator or just wanting to do stunts in general.
Oh, actually, I stumbled into the business. So my background is gymnastics in high school and college, and I was a probation officer. And a young man walked up to me and said, "You look like you're athletic fun. You ought to be a stunt woman." And then he was so persistent about it and wanted me to meet someone that was a part of the Stunt Women's Association. And I kind of like eventually went there and met the lady. And I looked around and I said, maybe I can do this. So I kind of like I got the bus. And then I met another young man who did promotion of probation. And I was telling us about being a stunt woman. and his best friend just happened to be one of the top black stunt coordinators. His name was a Greg Moon. So I kind of like got bit by the bug. My first job was on movie night, and it was on location. No, it's unheard of to have your first job on location, and it was really
Wow.
exciting. Yeah, my first job, and I was there for a week, so that was really great. Then I stumbled into stunt coordinating because I remember my mentor, JD Davison. It's very important that you get in there and make as much money as you can as a stunt woman because the next stunt girl comes in, you know, it's going to take your time. So I decided that I wanted to like start coordinating. So my friend Eddie Watkins, who's the second director of stunt coordinating, went into interview for Dorothy Dandridge, and Callie was specifically asked for a woman to be in key positions and referred me to that. So that's kind of like how I got bit by the bug and becoming a stunt coordinator on introducing Dorothy Dandridge. But I think my first stunt coordinator job was on Sister Sister, so I'm really dating myself. It was one episode I did, the double dutch scene. That was way before um, introducing Dorothy Dandridge. But of course, I still wanted to hit the ground at that time. I wasn't really mentally prepared to actually coordinate, but you know, I really got bit by the bug when I started to get the HBO special because it was a great experience working with a crew of all women.
Amazing. Come from the natural to drug coordinating, which is, definitely a path a lot of people want to learn about and take on full fledged. So we're definitely gonna dive in a little bit more a little later. I know I have to question the audience. I can see people on YouTube and Facebook asking questions now, but we would definitely ask you these questions a little later.
Okay.
My next panelist I have is Gabrielle Blackwood. Gabrielle is an award-winning Jamaican director and director of photography who has written and directed short film documentaries in both Jamaica and New Zealand. Her films have been screened at the American Black Film Festival, the Pan African Film Festival. Thank you so much. and different festivals such as Diversity in Change Audience Award for Best Short. Gabby is born in Jamaica and has her master's and post-grad degree in pre-production from the University of Auckland, New Zealand, and a BA in media communications from the University of West Indies in the immediate in Jamaica. Gabby, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit more on why you wanted to become an independent filmmaker and a director?
So I'm actually a director and a director of photography. And for my director of photography work and directing. But when I was much younger in Jamaica, we grew up with a strong theatre culture, and so that was the background that I was very much interested in. And then it was when I was in high school. So I used to, when I was younger, I used to put up curtains and make costumes and get my neighbours to come in and act out little short plays that I wrote. And then after that, I saw cinematography as an option when I was in high school, and at the time I didn't know what it meant. But I knew I wanted to do it because I started to critique films just as a hobby. And then when it got time to go to university, we didn't have a film school out here in Jamaica, but we had a media school. And so I went to the media school and did my first degree with the intention of always doing film. And so I went to New Zealand to study film, to do both my master's and another degree there, because at the time New Zealand's industry was relatively small, but it was growing immensely because Lord of the Rings and Last Samurai and all of those other films were coming out of New Zealand, and I wanted to use Jamaica as a virtual location for other places, and so that's why I pursued it, and then I came back.
There's a lot of directors I see in the comments right now, aspiring directors. So they have a lot of questions for you. So we're definitely going to go down your path and dig a little bit deeper and talk about some of the films that you created and directed. Thank you so much for being here. And let me go ahead and introduce, last but not least, the only male on our panel, and his name is Cool, Mr. Cool Benson. Thank you so much for being here. Let me go ahead and read a little bit
Yeah.
about your bio so people can understand, your work and how you've been here. So, Cool Benson has over 15 years of experience in the industry of makeup. He has earned 4 Artisan nominations for his work in daytime TV. His work has been seen on shows like The Real, Dr. Phil, and the Arsenio Hall Show. Before making his way into daytime TV, Cool was a key and lead artist on shows like The New Normal, Hit the Floor, Franklin and Bash, and he has been called frequently Dave Play on shows like Dancing with the Stars, Dear White People, and Ballers. He's done numerous celebrity red carpet looks for the Oscars, Emmys, Grammys, BET Awards, and the AMAs. I think you went to every award show possible.
Oh,
Currently, Cool is working on taking his talents to the other side of camera as an actor in recently released movie Mother's Little Helpers, in which he shines in the role as Nurse Cool. Did they do that on purpose? Cool,
they
Nurse
did.
Cool. They did that on purpose.
They
Okay.
did.
Cool. You also have a background of education from the University of Kentucky, where you were a national champion cheerleader, which led to many years of successful mentoring and coaching. Can you go ahead and talk a little bit more about how you got started in makeup and your path to now working on all these award shows and films and everything?
Well, thank you for having me. And absolutely, the way I got started is I really loved working in entertainment. I started from cheerleading into dancing. And as a dancer, sometimes injuries happen. And so I had an injury, and I decided I wanted to work in makeup. It was always something that I loved doing and I loved watching on TV. So I went to makeup school, and I went to every makeup school I could find in one year in Los Angeles. And afterwards, I had a friend who was a PA, and a makeup artist didn't show up. And he said, "Oh, my friend just finished makeup school. I could give him a call, see if he can come." And that was my first day working on the TV Guide Network's AMA coverage with Joan Rivers and Melissa Rivers. So I just got lucky, and my friend was a PA, and I had my kit in my car, so I was ready to go. And I went. They liked me, and I stayed with TV Guide, and from there, that was the platform to networking on to many different other opportunities.
Amazing. That's crazy to hear everybody's journey of how they got started to where they are now.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to dig in. But let me get back to all of my panelists, and I just want to ask a general question to everyone. Um, Tell us your journey of how or why you picked the career you picked. So, Ty, can you tell us why you picked to be a production assistant? Like, what was inspiring behind that?
So I kind of fell into it. I went to college in Texas. My major was criminal justice. I knew I was going to be a police officer. That was my go-to career. I was always doing stuff for the community. I was awarded by the city of Los Angeles for completing so many hours in the community. I was awarded in Texas for just anything criminal justice. That was my background. So I came to California and I met one of my very close friends. His name is Kevin Yuji, and he worked on the Bad Girls Club. And he asked me, I was just telling him how I needed some money, student loans are kicking in, and I just needed to just work and find a job because criminal justice wasn't, the job wasn't fast enough for me. So he was like, well, it's a little gig, it's a production assistant, and it'll be on The Voice. And that was my first show. He introduced me to Octavia Harper, who was the production manager. And she gave me a shot just based off of his word. She didn't know my background, and honestly, I didn't have a background in it. But he put in a good word for me, and history is from there.
Amazing. One more question, Ty. Do you feel that it's easy to get into the entertainment industry by applying or by knowing someone?
Very good question. I get that a lot. Honestly, I feel like to get in this industry, it's definitely about networking. You gotta network because your reputation goes far. Um, your name go far. And I honestly feel like if it wasn't because of my hard work, if it wasn't me just always helping out in the community, Kevin would have never seen me doing community service and thought I was a good worker. So honestly, I feel like it's you have to network, but it is great to have the background. So when you are booked for the gig, you have knowledge on what you're doing. But it's definitely about networking. You got to be a people person. You got to be.
Okay. I definitely agree with you 100%. Miss
Yeah.
Rhonda, how did you land into the career? Did you pick it or was it by accident? And then let us know like what inspired you to keep on going and to be so successful.
It was basically, I just landed in it. Like I mentioned earlier, I used to work in a salon, and when I was referred someone, an actor, I always tell people in this industry, you have to be able to network, just as Ty was mentioning. You have to know people and get to know people. Building relationships is so important because it's not about how well you can do the hair. I've been a personal to several people, and I don't think I'm the best hairstylist. I know I'm not, but I think just being around people and learning people and getting to know them is what helped to get me onto the sets. And being kind, and being patient with people because in Hollywood, everything is a rush, rush, rush. And
Mhm.
with it being such a rush, rush, you have to be able to know how to settle, how to be this way. And that's who we are as the crew. We're this way when everybody else is like this. So when you can be that way, in spite of what else is going on around us, you get called again. But if you're all high strung and crazy, crazy, it's not going to work, and that's when you don't get the calls. So yes, it is. It was. It was. I think it was my mama and my daddy's genes that helped to get me where I am.
That's very, I mean, I agree with that 100%. It definitely takes a lot of dedication, hard work, and networking. Was that the same path you took, Lafay? Did you network or was it more so? I know you said you started doing gymnastics and then, so tell us your path a little bit more.
The whole business is a network. We call stunt network is a hustle. You're hustling on a regular basis because step performers don't have agents. But actually, my real story is that I was in the Guinness Book of World Records as a teenager, and I was traveling with Ramo, and I actually got bit by the bug early, and I decided that I wanted to stay in Canada. I had no idea what I was going to do, and I think by me being athlete, being athletic inclined in high school and college, I was able to set the path to actually become a stunt person. So it's really about opportunity and timing because you never know what your path may be. Because I never thought about being a stunt person. I never heard about it. I kind of stumbled into the business and I love it and it's just an exciting career and it's really about networking and perfecting your craft and your skill and actually training with the individuals that specialize in particular areas, whether it's horseback, fight scenes, martial arts, or motorcycle car work. So it's really about networking, hustling, like I said, perfecting your skills. And that's pretty much what it's about as far as stunts is concerned. It's a little different from the other careers because like I said, we don't have agents, and we have to actually get out and network and show our face when another person's working. We hustle, and we take our resume and try to get some money and ourselves in that way.
Okay. Definitely. I always wonder stunts, like how does one want to be stunts and then two, like follow that path? Because I've never seen any course of like, oh, join this and you can be a stunt coordinator or a stunt woman or man. So definitely like your insight of how you got into the industry will definitely help a lot of people who, everybody wants to be black superheroes, like Black Panther. Everybody wants to work on Black Panther. And I know 100% you have to be able to definitely get in on like your stunts and networking. So we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about your journey and your path and the shows you worked on because what's love got to do with it? Tell you, I know you was, I know you was in there doing your stuff. So um, Gabby, so or can I call you Gabby? Just want to be personal.
That's
Uh,
fine. That's fine.
Um, Let us know. Was this like your first choice? Like, was director of photography, and then you landed directing? Did you pick up a camera when you were 2 and just started to shoot? How was it?
No, so actually, I came back as a director. So I special directed. So when I was growing up, from about 6 or 7 years old, that was when I started to write short stories and act out stuff. And then, but when I came back from school, and this is from the Caribbean or the Jamaican context, what I found was that for bread and butter hair or the small film industry hair is the commercial work or documentary work. And when I came back, a lot of people valued the director of photography more than they did the director. So you would have
Mm.
agents clients saying, well, no, we have somebody in house that can direct it. But who we need is somebody who can shoot, who can light. And so then I said to myself, well, I mean, and outside of that, I had always had an interest in the visuals because I feel like film, and I mean, everybody knows this, but film is not just a creative platform just to exist. It is a way, to share your stories. It's a way to reach people. It's a way to affect change. And so when the visual medium is something that has always appealed to me, and I'm actually a very visual person, and so I decided to invest in a camera, go online, read up on forums, go out, shoot my own stuff. And it was after a couple, I would say about a year and a half after just doing it consistently, that I started producing my own shorts, and then people started recognizing that, and then I started getting hired for commercial work and other films, etc. So that's how it started.
Okay, so you never like went on set and started as a production assistant, director's assistant, or these different positions that people usually take ladders to become a director. Do you know about all these different positions? Can you tell us so
Yeah, so
everybody
I
out
had
there
to do it. So I had to do it. I did it before I left for film school. I did it when I was in New Zealand, and meaning I was PA. I was the person looking after the child. I was a sound up. Like even when we had Netflix productions coming out here, like I was an AC, like camera assist, or I was a cam op. So it has taken time, but also part of that was because at the time, and I think even now, being I believe the only female cinematographer in Jamaica, it was a bit difficult at the time for people to even understand how a girl could light and shoot and hold a camera, and that sort of a thing. Because even on set, sometimes I'd be the DP, and either the client or somebody else who just they'd approach the sound guy or somebody else because they expect that person to be the person on set who's
Mhm.
more technical me. So just fighting those small battles along the way, but it has taken time. But it's we're here.
I mean, we are in a male dominant industry, and our last panel we had these boss women. So I wanted to talk about behind the scenes and all these women who are making their moves behind the scenes. We're gonna get to you, cool. Don't worry about it. You're you're in the makeup field, which is probably I would say more female dominant, correct, than males, or is there a
Yeah.
lot more males in makeup?
Well, at this time, it is more female dominant, but historically, it was mostly male dominated. Um, but yeah, right now it is more female, and especially as an African American male makeup artist, there I could probably count on my fingers how many that are in our industry in the
Wow,
union. Yeah.
in the
So
union.
yeah, in the union, yeah. But yeah, I guess I answered the question. But I was thinking about the other question. If you wanted me to
Oh
answer
yeah,
that,
I was going to get right back to that
that
question.
you.
Go ahead.
So I became a makeup artist. I always had Hollywood dreams. I can remember in high school, if you look at the back of the yearbook, it says cool be in Hollywood working in TV, but it didn't say in what capacity because I didn't know what. But I've always had Hollywood dreams, so it's something that I went after. And after performing and dancing, and I was injured, I decided I wanted to go into makeup. So I actually did research and found schools so that I could train, so that I could be my best when it was ready. So I actually went after education. And then, like I was saying earlier, after I was educated, I had a big break where my friend was on set and he just heard that a makeup artist was needed and
Mm.
volunteered me, and I went to set, and that's how I got my start. But
Um,
I think it's important to put yourselves in circles of people that you want to be like. So if I wasn't around people that were PAs or working in television, I would not have gotten that chance. So me going to makeup school, like Rhonda's Beyond the Combs Academy, that's going to be a great resource for people to get started. But by doing the education and surround yourself with people you want to be like, that helps you in that circle build a network. So
so you mentioned, was your first set you were a makeup assistant, or you literally came in and you start doing the head
I
makeup?
literally
Like,
came in.
how do you go from doing
I really
background
came
makeup
in.
to lead
Well,
artist?
no, I literally came in. There was a host on the show at that time. TV Guide was always on the red carpet with Joan Rivers, Melissa Rivers. They were always interviewing everybody. They had a correspondent. His name was Chris Booker. I think he was dating J Lo at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
but his makeup artist didn't show up, so they hired me to come and do him. And that was at the AMAs, the red carpet at the AMAs. It was my first gig, and
Wow.
that was that. Later I ended up actually being Joan Rivers' makeup artist. So that's how I moved up from that moment to actually spending some time doing Joan Rivers. So you just kind of like network, and then you move your way up.
You mentioned a lot about networking and being in the union. How easy or how hard is it to be part of the union, and like what are some of the steps so people can follow so they can be certified and work on union jobs, such as like the Emmys Awards or any movies?
Well, I was told that in order to work on any set in Hollywood, you have to be part of the unions, union, care union, or the um, DP union. Or I think everybody has a union. So for a makeup artist, you have to work on a project that's being broadcast for 3 consecutive years for 60 days. So
Hmm.
they don't make it easy. You, um, or you can be a personal request from a celebrity, but then you join the union, and then you can do that celebrity for that project. Am I right about that, Rhonda?
Rhonda, you're a little muted. Can you unmute us, Rhonda?
I'm muted.
There you go. We can hear you
No,
now.
no, you're not.
Okay, that is correct in
We're
a
in the
lot of
same
ways.
union.
We are in Local 706. And I just got a call this morning when I was driving here, and someone asked me, they said they need a union braider on one of the shows. And we're all working. There are not many black folks right now not working, which is wonderful because there are so many platforms, Hulu, Amazon, Apple, just so many platforms. And you do have to, just as Sue mentioned, you need to do the 60-60-60. They're not going to change the rules because the platform has changed. And we have to understand that there are rules that you have to go by. And so right now, being that we have more people of color working, thank God, we are able to possibly, if you call the union, you could probably get into the special category. So if we don't have enough people that braid or enough people that weave, um, the special effects has been doing it in makeup for years. So now we have our own special effects in hair, which is weavers and braiders and ventilators for wigs. So they're calling on some people that are not in the union to possibly get their way in. Don't everybody slur the phone and say Rhonda said for me to get I can get in the union. That's, it's not true. But we are, as we say, as you can see behind me, it's Beyond the Combs Academy. And what I'm doing, I've created a safe space for to bring people in to prepare them to learn how to read a call sheet, learn how to um, a breakdown of script. We didn't get that. For 10 years, so many of us that were in the union still didn't know how to read a call sheet. But when you make
Right.
yourself more educated, when you make yourself more prepared, you're more confident once you get onto these sets, and you're more employable. So I've
Right.
created a space where hairstylists, barbers, makeup artists, wardrobe stylists, LaFay, stunt performers, and still photographers to be able to come and prepare themselves to work, to prepare themselves to be ready when they get that call to work in Hollywood. So there are other little ways of getting into the union, but you have to be connected, as we've all said.
Yeah.
When you come
Right.
into the school, into the academy, we're connected. You don't get that often. So when I
I
had my first class the other day, one of the young ladies that was one of the students had already been talking to a young lady in school, I mean, in her salon that was in the union. And she posted that she was in Beyond the Combs Academy 4-day Hollywood training course. And the young lady said, "Oh, she's serious. I'm going to call her for this job." And she was able to call her for a non union job that flipped the next day to union. And
To union.
so just
and that's another way to get in. You're on a non-union show, and there's enough union people on it. They flip it, and then you
that's
can
what you
get
were going
in.
to
You can get
say.
in that. Yeah, you can get in that way. But I was also just going to give the advice to whoever's out there is be specific in what you're asking for after you know what it is you want to do. What I did is I just looked at the shows on TV that I liked, and I wanted to be on that show. I found out who the makeup artist was,
Hmm.
and I just found a way to connect with them. I went to where they were, and I said
You're a
hello.
stalker.
And the ones that liked me hired me and tried, ones didn't, and so what? But I got in, and I worked. So I would take that advice, because if nobody knows who you are, you're not going to get the job.
And
Right.
another part of that is, even once you get into the unions, people think that that's your agent. It's not. Just as Buffet said, like we've all said, you have to work your way in by building relationships. When I got onto sets, once I got into the union, there's a book we get. So in that book, I kept looking in it, and I would text people and ask them if they were available, let them know that I was available to work. They would work me, and they didn't know who I was, but I was bold enough to go to them and solicit work from them. So that was 20 years ago. So I'm still working with some of those people today.
I
I'm gonna
remember
say
I asked you, and I said, "Who are the black?" I said, "How do I find the black people?" Because I wanted to know who were. When I joined, I was like, "Okay, well, who are the black artists?" They were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't give you that information."
Hmm.
So I I had to like do my own work and find the people that I wanted to network with,
And
because
how
they
many
didn't.
black makeup artists were there?
They probably didn't tell me because there weren't any. They're probably,
I'm pretty
there,
sure
there's
probably not.
Really, he's
there
the only one for
literally
many years, the only black male makeup artist in the union.
Okay.
there really weren't any
Okay.
when I
Are,
joined back in 2000.
I was going to ask,
I
Lafay, are
joined back
you a
in
part of the union?
2007.
sorry, go ahead.
Me?
Lafay, I wanted to know if she's a part of the union, and how is it networking within there?
Okay, a lot of people don't know, but we're a Screen Actors Guild AFRA, so we're paid pretty much just like the regular celebrities, and we receive residuals and all that. So that's our union, and you have to be PAFF party into the union. The same thing as actors. After you have so many shows, there's an extra atmosphere, or like Queen said, if you are in an actual contract as a stunt person or a stunt coordinator, that's another way that you can actually get in the union. Again, it's about relationships, establishing relationships with the actors and also with the coordinator or another person that is the stunt performer. But I do want to say that dedication, discipline, and persistence is really key in this business because it's very difficult. A lot of times you see one show and you think you're on a roll, but it may be the Second, you need three shows. So third, you're five shows. So you definitely have to hang in there. If this is something that you love and you're hungry for it, then you're going to hang out with the right people. You're going to network. You're going to perfect your craft. And eventually, over time, you will succeed. So that's really the
Yep.
key.
That's right. That's true.
That is
Very good.
Yep.
definitely.
Very
So
good.
Todd, I know you are a
Yes.
talent coordinator and a production assistant. Is there another field that you want to go into, or have you? I mean, a lot of production assistants typically are assisting makeup one day, or assisting director, camera crew, and talent. So, is there a particular area that you like the most, and that you see yourself going into?
So, yeah, I started as a production assistant, and I started on The Voice. I was with The Voice for about 4 years. Uh, Being a production assistant in the production world is like the lowest of lowest. So you really have to work your way up and understand every field in the production world. Right after that, me just working super hard and being around just the right people at the right time, I moved into talent wrangling. So then I started wrangling the coaches and wrangling talent who were on the show of The Voice. Right after that, once you're in that field of working, one person talks to the next person and they say, "Hey, she's amazing. We would like you to work on our show." And then it just happened from there. So now I'm officially a talent coordinator and I love that position. It just gives me free range to work with the talent, just treat them special and just make sure everything is taken care of from when they get on set and when they leave set. So I really like the position. But again, I've never would take being a production assistant for granted. It's definitely a lot of work. You definitely got to put work in. You are the first person there. You're the last person to leave set. Production assistant is who you depend on. There is no show without a production assistant, period. But because we do so much, we're not looked at as important on the outside world. And that's why I'm so grateful for Linda for giving me this platform to speak today because the production assistant is it's not talked about. It's just you just do your job and you keep pushing. Most people love or hear about directors and makeup artists and hairstylists, but production assistant is never given the platform to even speak on this level. So I'm grateful for that. That's why I'm glad I had the opportunity to be a production assistant and to work my way up. So definitely love being a talent coordinator though.
I
That's
definitely can
good.
relate to you. Me myself started as a production assistant. I interned free, literally walked on set and saw who was making the directions, and I walked up to him and said, "Hey, can I work on it?" And he said, "Yeah, be here tomorrow." And I started, as a production assistant. I love behind the camera world, just like you, because there's so much you can see. You're the first one there, so you see everybody get in. You see all the makeup artists arrive, the talent arrive, the director, and so you kind of pay attention to everything, and then you're the last one to leave, so you know from beginning to end. And I definitely say there's like if that's the way people want to get behind the scenes, definitely being a production assistant, so you can kind of you see everything, learn everything, and then kind of pick a field you want to get into. It's just like college. Like, you take all these courses and then you decide which course is for you. And then you go ahead and pursue that even more. So I definitely agree with you, Ty. I did start as a production assistant, and I got really close to director, and I like to produce things, coordinate. So that's where I am now. So definitely, anybody out there looking, start as a production assistant, but know which field you want to get into and say, hey, I want to work with the makeup or I want to work with stunts and work your way through there and network. Network is key. So
And to
Gabby,
piggyback off
oh,
like to
go ahead.
piggyback off what you said about production assistant, you like we said it before, you are the first to get there and you are the last, but the key thing is paying attention to every information. Like for example, when the makeup artist said a PA overheard them saying the main makeup artist couldn't come to work today. The PA was so attentive on the information, he was able to land the makeup artist gig, and now he's been doing makeup forever. So the production assistant, you have to pay attention to every field, lighting, every department, because you are going to be the key person to tell that information to the next person. And if it doesn't get relayed, then that's your opportunity that you failed, you know? So you don't want to fail. And the production assistant, everything is on your shoulder, literally.
Yeah. So to
Gabby,
piggyback off of that,
True.
she's exactly right. PA, I owe my first break to a PA who was paying attention and listening. So I don't know why I was going to say that, but
And
you
yes,
know,
I love
can
it.
I pick, can I piggyback off of that as well? Because
Go ahead.
that we as department heads also have to sit and listen to everything around us, and that makes it easier for everybody. If you can hear, if you're listening, people think that, oh, you can just be on your phone and text and things like that. No, we're actually listening to everything around, so it makes a difference. And can I say one more thing?
mhm.
Ty mentioned being a PA. What I tell a lot of people, like when I worked on Brooklyn Nine-Nine or NCIS LA, you get to become like a family. Uh, the background people are the same background for season after season after season, and what some of them would come up to me and they would say, "How did you become a hairstylist? My sister or my cousin wants to do this." And what I tell them is that what I did, which I didn't even realize what I was doing, but I became background when I was pregnant and wasn't making any money. So I said, okay, let me just do background. But what I started noticing what a hairstylist would do. And when I learned the etiquette by just being a background person, because you can't get on sets unless you're working on set in some form. So background, you can be a background artist so that you can learn what that craft is. If you want to be a grip, an electrical, many people don't know that it takes 200, at least 200 people to make a show, make a production. There are a lot of jobs for us out there. It's not just an actor, director, or a producer. There are other jobs within. And I used to have a personal that told me, used to say, you know what, I should have been a bit a crew member because you all always work. And that's the blessing of us. We can always work every day of the year, opposed to many of the people that they're used to seeing. So um, it's very important to know that it's no job in the industry is low, because being a PA at Access Hollywood, they had to go through being a PA whether they had a master's degree or not, because you learn the whole atmosphere of what the job is and what Hollywood is all about.
Can I
And you
piggyback
pick
on
a
that
lot
as far as
on the
can I
terms.
piggyback
We
as far as
back in a lot, aren't we?
sorry, can I piggyback on the production assistant is concerned? I think while you're working as a production assistant, you have the opportunity to look at all positions, which allows you to actually figure out what you really have an interest in doing. That's what a production assistant is able to do, to look at all the positions, work with them, figure out which skills they can apply and which would be the best for them to move into the entertainment industry
Mhm.
and make a name for themselves. So that's really, really key, I think, as a production assistant. Sometimes you're going to have to volunteer. Some of these shorts that they have, volunteer your time, build your resume so that you actually go and work in some of these other shorts. So you have experience. That's what they're looking for also is experience. So that would be really good as a production assistant.
Yeah, that's
Gabby,
true. That's true.
how important is it for you directing to have a PA on your sets to help move your sets? Like, how important is being a production assistant? And how many different production assistant positions are there? Because there's set PA, there's office PA, there's so many
There's
areas that people can, yeah. So can you let us know how that is?
It's huge, and I mean, also piggybacking off what Ty said, a lot of people underscore or underestimate the role of a PA, regardless of what type of PA you are, because they are really the ones that help to run the set under the various ADs. And without them, I mean, outside of everything else, the set really doesn't function. And simple things, because I remember when I was PAing, starting out, and just getting water, or whether it's at the end of set and you're wrapping things up and you're picking up trash. It's just the little things. But meaning, even when I'm on set now, for anybody in any capacity, whether it is my camera crew, my light and grip crew, or the PA, or whether it's the production design department, like everybody deserves a certain level of respect. And I feel, and filmmaking or whether it's commercial work, it's all teamwork. So yeah, there's no reason why anybody should be on the plate, but it is true that a lot of the attention, whether it's on a public platform or otherwise, tends to go with either the above the line, or the HODs.
Got it. So what are the different PA positions? Can Ty, can you let us know what different PAs there are?
You said a few: set PA, production PA. You have a transpo PA. The transpo PA pretty much drives talent back and forth. Then you have set PA, who's literally on set the whole time. So if anything happens on set, they are the first to resolve that. Then you have talent PAs, who handles uh, the talent. Then you have production assistants who are also on set, but they're more so running the things around the set. Then you have art department PA. Uh, it's literally every department has a PA. It's a lot of departments. So yeah, you do have to know which lane you want to work as a production assistant, but it's always great to know every lane because you never know when they're going to call on you, and then that may be your big break. As stated for me, I worked as a production assistant on The Voice, and I knew every avenue, and I would just watch. And then I saw one day that I think it was Blake Sheldon who needed a ride to set, and it was so much movement going on. I said, I know where the golf carts are. I can do it. And I hurry up and grab the golf cart. I put him in the golf cart. I ran to the store. He ran to the set, and because of that, he was able to get on camera. Because usually when you're filming live, it's like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown, and he literally got to set just in time for the cameras to roll where it went live. And honestly, it wouldn't happen if I didn't know where the golf carts were. You know what I mean? So you have to pay attention to everything around you. And because of that, I moved up to the talent as a talent wrangler because of that. And I stayed in the talent wranglers world for about a few years, and then I moved to talent coordinating.
Got it.
Nice.
Got it. So we talked about the journey. Did you guys have any mentors along the way to help you, guide you in this industry because it is so big? Rhonda, did you have any mentors to teach you the game? And what were some of the things that they told you and like mentioned to you that stuck with you to this day?
Well, my mentors are now my instructors over at Beyond the
Mhm.
Comb Academy. Some of them, so we call them I call them my golden girls, Miss Loretta, Pinky, as well as Miss Debbie, and they've been in the game for a long time. They taught me wigs. They taught me how to act on set. And one of the things and from that, I wrote a book called Beyond the Combs, a celebrity hairstylist guide to success. And it talks about how, and you can get it on Amazon, but it talks about how your set etiquette makes all the difference. How you act and how you work in the trailer, what you do, and um, how you have to basically shut up, sit down, and do your job. That's what basically to me it's all about, and that's what I learned from so many of them is to just be quiet. Don't talk too much. Just do your job and do it well.
Okay, that was a really good, statement. Just, sit back and learn, because a lot of people are so quick to say something. So, just sit back and observe and take it all in. Did
Yeah.
you have some mentors as well, Gabby? Did somebody, teach you the ropes of directing, and what are some of the things they said to you that stuck with you to today?
So actually, my mentors, or one in particular, was a cinematographer, which is ironic now that I'm thinking about it. Recently passed. Um, but yes, one of the things that he imparted to me is, yeah, just never listen. Everybody's always learning. There's no reason to have ego about anything, and a lot of the time you'll probably have a director coming on set, who's, yeah, whether it could be all about themselves or they should be treated a particular way. But it just goes back to this whole thing of everybody deserves a level of respect. It is teamwork. If one department falls down, everything falls down or everything gets delayed. And how you conduct, just following off what Rhonda just said, and I always say to people as well, no matter what happens on set, how you conduct yourself on set, um, and especially if you're the HOD, your department, it really affects the morale of the set. So whatever it is, you just have to handle it in a particular way or the best way possible, because yeah, it does affect production, or even just losing or getting or keeping the work.
Yep.
Very, very good. Very, very good. Cool. I know you had somebody who told you something about, who mentored you or gave you all of this.
Yeah, I had a couple of people that kind of took me under their wings, so to speak. My friend James McKinnon, who was like, he just won an Emmy for Star Trek. He brought me in on the Son of Anarchy's pilot, and one of the things that he taught me was just like, being a successful makeup artist, you got to be good at your craft, but you have to be good at time and time management. Mm-hmm. You have to be on time, because if you don't have the actor ready on time, that pushes everything back for that day. So you want to be on time, and then when you're doing your makeups, you want to make sure production stay on time. You don't ever want them to wait on you, because if you do that, they'll remember you and they'll hire you again, because they don't like to wait. Every minute they have to wait is money. It's pushing down the door, and a lot of artists want to wait and perfect that look and make sure everything's perfect. Sometimes even if I'm not done or the eyeliner's not straight, when production says, are they ready? I'm like, yep, they're ready. And then I'll go on set, because I know they're going to be on set waiting after they get there. So I just walk down on set, and then I finish what I got to do. But I didn't say they weren't waiting on me. So that was one of the biggest things my mentor taught me, but I still live by that. So yeah, that was it.
Time management, definitely.
Time management. Definitely. That was James McKinnon. Yeah, that's it.
Can I chime in on that? When I got into business, stuff was such a hush because they didn't want anybody to know that stunt people were doubling the actors. So they weren't that many mentors when I got into business. So what I did was I have a nonprofit called Diamond Law, and we educate young girls about the years behind the scenes from the age of 12 and 18, so they can kind of like start thinking about production, and specifically for production, because every young girl wants to be in front of the camera, but there's so much money being behind the scenes. And the key is this: you establish relationships on that production, so you're working a long period of time with those individuals to establish relationships. So when the next gig comes along, they take you with them. And that's definitely much better than an actor. Most people don't understand that there are only so many actors that are making a lot of money, the J-Lo's and the Angela Bassett. Some people are the second highest paid individuals working in SAG-AFTRA. And a lot of times people don't understand that. But I wanted to just, by being a stunt person and a stunt coordinator, I know that there weren't that many African American or minorities working behind the scenes. So I wanted to educate inner city and young kids about careers behind the scenes, because that's where generational wealth comes in. We can kind of like change the narrative. So it's important to be educated. Another thing that I noticed that when we do make it in the business, we don't have a tendency to give back. And I think that's so crucial that once you make it, that you actually mentor or sponsor. Because I know in the other ethnicity, it's a family thing. And no matter what, even if they don't agree or whatever, they still bring their people in. And we need to learn to do the same thing. If the person is good, we have to let our bygones be bygones and hire them for the best work, so we can kind of like continue with this generational work. That's where I am right now.
That's very good.
That's very
good. Like you guys said, Cool was the only male or African American on a lot of these sets, and it's really hard to believe, but we definitely need to start bringing us more into behind the scenes and more of these fields, because a lot of people only see the actors on set or hear the directors winning the awards, but they don't know when that credit rolls, and they see all those people who made this possible, that's what we're here to let them know, that there is many things you can do on set and still be a part of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So Ty, I know you have some mentors, and what are some of the things they told you, and how would you relay that to someone who's trying to get into the field next?
Um, well, I want to say for piggyback off the last conversation, I was quiet, but for cool, it's true. Like I worked on plenty sets, and I haven't seen any makeup artists who were one African American males. And for you to be on this platform is phenomenal for me because I haven't met any, and it's an honor to meet you. So I just wanted to say that before I forget that it was definitely an
Thank,
honor to meet you today.
thank you.
That's good.
Thank you. Honor
That's
to meet
good.
you as well.
Can you let
Thank
us
you.
know what
Now,
is
what was
some
your
of the
question,
things?
Jake, Tasha?
I was going to get right back to it because they want to know, like, if you had a mentor, and what are some of the things your mentor told you, or about the game, and what stuck to you today, like, these little nuggets that can keep you going.
A mentor. So I have a mouth, you guys. I have a mouth. I've always had a mouth, and I think that's what gets me in trouble is my mouth. But I think for me, it was my mouth because it's in the production world. Production assistants, there are a lot of color, but anything higher than production assistant, it's not. And that's where my mentor, pulled me to the side and said, don't let this be your downfall, your mouth, on why you can't move to the next level. As you see, there's not many of you on the next level. So that should be your main goal, is to try to move up to the next um, level. And as I started going to more sets, I realized what they told me, that it's not that many people of color above a production assistant position. And I knew that I wanted to just make sure I tone my mouth down and move up into the next platform. And like I said, today I'm where I am today because I listened, and I'm grateful for that.
I do want to take
That's
this time to remind everybody who's watching to please drop your questions in the comments. We're going to get to questions in about another 20 minutes or so. So if you have some questions, please drop them in the comments, and go over to path.org and donate so we can continue on. This is just the first of, behind the scenes. This is part one. There's going to be part two so we can tap on to the other positions that you heard them talk about: grip, lighting, sound. So we're going to talk about that. But today we're going to focus on who we got: hairstylist, makeup artist, director, stunt coordinator, production talent assistants. So this is so much. I've looked at the credits, and I was like, there's so many people on set, and I don't know how we're going to be able to talk about all these different positions. It's just so many positions. And I'm so glad to have you guys here. So is Linda and Babu and Asantawa for PAFF. They want to know, have you guys, what films have you guys worked on in PAFF, and let us know about that in your position. So I know, Gabby, you had a film in PAFF, and let us know about that film, and how was it working on that set
So
behind the
there were
scenes.
two. There were two of them, and for both of them as the director of photography. One was Flight, which is about a Jamaican boy who dreams of flying to the moon. So it's kind of space based, but he's from the inner city, and it's about this who could have the biggest dream, but from the smallest space, or maybe the lowest denominator. And so it was this boy from the inner city. That's one. And then and that went around because we went to Cannes with it, and we were at the American Black Film Festival with it. And it's gone through a lot of festivals. And then another one before that one was, it's called Incursion, and it's, that one is a documentary. So a friend of mine, she studied at New York Film Academy. She's doing her thesis film, and so she wanted me to DP. And it's about, so there's a guy called Dudus in 2010, and he was like this big area don, and literally Jamaica got locked down because there was this big manhunt for him, and also people got murdered. And so that's what the incursion is about, documenting what happened, from the perspective of outsiders as well as residents who were in the community that was on complete lockdown. I think there's quite a few people got murdered. It wasn't our best day in history here at all.
Amazing. You have multiple films. We can't wait for the next one to come. Like I said, we are going, COVID is bringing 2021's Pan African Film Festival virtual now. So we're all going to be sitting at home watching all these films, and definitely we're going to check back out to your two films that you already had in the festival. Has anybody else been a part of the festival of any way? Cool. Have you worked on any makeup for any projects that were a part of the Pan
I
African Film Festival?
I haven't. I've gone. I've seen some of the films, and I was reading about it, and so I'm thinking now I'm gonna make it a goal to like be part of a film as an actor. So I'm that's my next goal now with the PAFF Institute.
So you're moving from
I,
makeup to acting now.
yeah, I am. I was a performer before I became a makeup artist. As a dancer, you get your to fall back on, and
Hmm.
that makeup was my other thing that I was passionate about. So I've been around. I've been watching films, and a lot of us have many different talents, and I've kind of been afraid to ask for that part of what I wanted to do, because sometimes
Hmm.
when you're a performer, if you're not tooting your own horn or letting people know, then they don't know. So that was a confidence thing for me, but I've kind of gotten that confidence now. So if anybody needs an actor, I'm available. I'm available for auditions. So yeah, I feel like that's my next thing, and I would love to take part in some of the short films as a platform to move forward.
Okay. Anybody else had an
I'm kind of
experience or any film at the Pan African Film Festival in the past 28 years?
had a I had a couple of actors that worked in that were on film. I think Hakeem Kazim, I think was one.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
went to and I can't remember the name of the movie, but he invited me a couple of years ago, as well as I think it was last year. Harrison,
Hmm.
Calvin Harris. We did a movie together, High Note, and he was in it last year and won last year. Um, Several people I know, but those were the two recent. Very good festivals, very good projects, productions.
So I actually have participated in several of the years with the Pan African Film Festival. I also was in a film called Men in 3D, where I was a stunt coordinator in that particular show. I think it was about 4 years ago. So yes, I have participated in one film that I'm aware that I acted as stunt coordinator. And it may have been so many years ago because I've been in business a long time. So
Seeing that you mentioned the film Man in 3B, can you talk about what was out of all the films you were a stunt woman for and you stunt coordinated, what was the one that you loved the most? Or what was like the highest or your I made it moment?
I think introducing Dorothy Dandridge, because that was a once in a lifetime, and it actually established me becoming the first African American stunt woman to coordinate a big budget project, and that was a highlight. I love working with Halle Berry, and it was just one of the best opportunities, and just in conjunction with working on What's Love Got to Do with the double Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne, because I love him also. So those two shows were really the highlight of my career. What's Love Got to Do with it, and introducing Dorothy Dandridge.
Okay. Does anybody else? What was your I made it moment? What was Rhonda? Sorry. What was your I made it moment when you were doing hair? Like I got to do Oprah's hair, or whoever you looked up to. Like who was your? I can't believe I'm doing this.
Oh wow, you guys. Well, being that I worked at Access Hollywood, I've seen so many, almost every actor in town, and I've met them by being at their junkets or interviews. But they weren't my aha moment. I've even been to Oprah's house. I loved it. It was wonderful. But you know what was the most astounding moment for me was when I got the call from Whoopi Goldberg's camp. She has a production company. And they called me and they said, "Hey, can you do Condoleezza Rice? She just completed her term, and she needs someone to do her hair." And I was like, "Condoleezza Rice, do Condoleezza Rice." So they called me about 4 weeks before I had to do her. So that meant really prepping, make sure you got it together and can do it. And so I did. I went to her place. She was at the Beverly Regent. And
Mhm.
but before that, they had told me, okay, she wants her hair shampooed. And I'm like, okay, let me try to go to the region and see if they can let me use their beauty salon. And they were $500 a day. I say, oh, that would be almost all my money. No. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give her the shampoo and conditioner. I'm going to leave it at the lobby, in the lobby. She can just shampoo and do her hair the night before. She was like, no, no, I want her to do my hair. I was like, the Condoleezza Rice, I got to stick her over a tub and do her hair. And so when I got there the next day and I walked to her door and she said, "Hi, I'm Condoleezza Rice." I'm like, I wanted to say, yeah, like I don't know that. I walked in, she said, "Girl, come on in here and put my head under this sink like I do in DC." It was she's such a cool lady. She's such a smart lady. He's not like who we have in office right now, but she is so well admired. And the story that she gave about the reason why she's a Republican, she's really not. So I just say it like that. But I was riding behind the motorcade. She asked me if I wanted to get in. She tipped me like so much money out of her own personal account. That was even before she was such a gracious lady, and that was my aha moment, you guys. It wasn't really an actress; it was a politician. And now I do April Ryan. I don't know. I'm just in DC, I guess. Yes. So I love my actors, but that was just such a wonderful moment for me because she was such a gracious lady. She just, yeah. And I always remember that.
That's an aha moment. That's really really good. Yeah.
And I probably told her business on camera. She didn't tell me she was a Democrat, but I know she is just by her head movement and her eyes that she it's in her book that her dad made them stay Republicans because in Alabama that's what they are supposed to stay in Alabama. People don't know that, but
Since we're talking
she's
about
a,
politics, I do want to remind everybody to please go vote.
Vote.
Yeah.
This
yes,
election is very important. I need everyone to go vote. I know they're voting by mail. Whatever restrictions we got to do, we got to stand in line, 6 feet, wear your mask, vote,
yes,
get out there and vote. Your voice matters.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
So,
Absolutely.
Ty, you work with a lot of talent. Any aha, like your this I made it moment or something that just blew you away, and how did you act and respond?
That's a good question. Only because I know people say you live in California, you see them all the time, but you really don't. um, but my aha moment, because at this point in my life, I've seen so many celebrities and worked with so many. Um, I, I don't,
Just
I don't
who
have.
was the best celebrity to work with, or the funnest, or you know?
I would say that the when I worked on Wall and Out, that was the funnest show, but not because they made jokes on the show, but because Nick made you feel like I was a production assistant on that show. So Nick made you feel like being a production assistant wasn't like he made you feel like it you mattered. He made every department feel like they mattered. Like he always prayed before we went out to show. He always prayed after the show. He gave us so when you start dealing with production, you realize the production assistants. and half of the production team, they eat a certain food. And I would say maybe sandwiches, some chips, and a drink and a water. Then you have the talent team who, they eat better food. Um, but you kind of stay in your lane when you're a production assistant, and you're like, okay, Nick Cannon made sure everybody ate the same food that was great food. And I just felt like that was one of the first jobs that I had where I felt like I was a part of a team and not that my position was low or that it wasn't worth anything. And he just made you feel like you was a part of something. So I was grateful for that job, and just thankful that he allowed us to just be a part of his team because he treated us like we were talent, pretty much, and not a production
Yeah.
assistant.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's family. Like you said, networking and getting in there, and you become a family. I know a lot of
You become a
crews
family.
that work with each other and they continue on because they built that trust and relationship. So yeah,
Can I
definitely.
piggyback off of that?
Sure.
What she said about Nick Cannon, a lot of people don't know that we actually are so close to these people. The crew is we're so close to them, and when you get all this bad news, TMZ and things, those are not who they really are. I will say when
Mm-mm.
I worked on
Absolutely.
How to Get Away with Murder, it was pouring down rainy one day, and my daughter had some type of party the next day, and Viola Davis had bought everybody this Kiachan chicken, and she loves it. And I was like, I just made a comment. I said, I don't do her hair. She just cool like that. So we all talked to her. So she was like, I said, oh my God. I said, you brought that chicken in? She brings it in like every Christmas. She was bringing it like every Christmas almost. And she was like, yeah. I said, oh my God, I got to get some for my daughter tomorrow, because she's having a party. And she said, well, it's enough boxes back there. I said, girl, I said, don't worry about it. So before she left, mind you, it was pouring down raining, and Ty knows, everybody, we all know the trailer next to where the actors' trailers are. She went on set in the rain, walked 4 boxes back over to the hair trailer in the rain, and left them there. I had no idea. Then when I wrapped, I said, who brought these in here? Viola said, here, take these home to your daughter for tomorrow's party.
Oh,
So people don't know that those are who those people really are. So all
yeah.
this other trash that goes on is not who they are. Just
I
wanted
do
to.
want I do want to get into some questions from the audience because I see a lot of people are that the questions are coming in. And my first question from the audience on YouTube comes from Jay Smith. She wants to know: is there enough room in the industry for everyone, or is it like many say crabs in the barrel?
Mm, mm.
Well, I could say
I
for production assistants. Oh, go ahead.
I always say there's enough food for everyone to eat.
Mhm.
Like everyone's always talking about wanting someone else to take your job or take this job. Like Rhonda said, there's a lot of work out there, especially African American actors. They need us. They need artists that can work on their skin as far as makeup goes. So I think that there is plenty of work out there for artists and for production as well. I don't know. I just feel like
There's
it's work. The last month after COVID, I've been working 6 days a week.
Wow.
So I've been working 6 days a week on like two different shows. And I was listening to Ty. Just speaking back up, Ty. I don't know how we haven't met. I've worked on The Voice,
Really,
and then you just
and that's the thing. Production assistants, we're in the back. Like you guys get the
yeah,
camera, you guys are by the
yeah.
stage. We don't get that treatment. We are in the back in
I
the
know.
tent in the sun. No, I'm kidding. We're not in the sun, but we.
We could,
That's how we didn't
yeah,
meet. We worked on the show for
yeah.
4 years together, and never met.
Hollywood is so small, though. We're all in it's kind of the
we're a
same
small
circle.
community. It's a small
Yeah.
community, and I want to piggyback off of that too. Yes, that's why I created my academy, Beyond the Combs Academy, because uh, go to www.beyondthecombs.academy, because if you're in the room or in the space with us, You can get hired quicker. As I mentioned, there are at least 200 people on a production and a crew. So what you want to do is prepare yourself. You don't want to go in half knowing the work. You're not going to get hired as quickly, whether you're in the union or not. I don't hire people if I don't see that they know the lingo or they don't know how to move around on set. I don't hire them quickly. But when you come to, I'm not trying to sell my academy, but when you come to my academy, you become equipped. And that, as Black people, we want to be that way. We have to be that way. We have to be on top of the game. We have to level up. So when I mentioned about the platforms, we have Hulu, we have Amazon, we have Netflix, we have all these other platforms own. So Tyler Perry is doing this thing with BT. So we have so many different productions to where we're needed. It's not a matter of the union being racist. It's a matter of they were comfortable. Because when you only had network, you only saw Leave It to Beaver. You only saw that. Now we have so many others to where the comfort level has changed. We have to now bring in people that can do the hair. If I was on a show, if I was an actor, but I'm just being honest. If I was an actor going out on audition after audition for 10 years, and I landed a show where I'm making 40,000 a week, I don't care who's doing my hair. I'm gonna pull a wig up. If you tore out part of my hair, I'm sorry that 40,000 for 23 weeks. I gotta eat it. I got so now the playing field has changed. We do need more people in of color. So that's where we are now. So
Yeah, I can't
people
tell
that
you
want
how. I can't tell you how many times when I when I first started in the union and just in general, when when a black actor or talent, or when I was at CNN, a correspondent would come into the room and they see me, they'd hug me. I was like, why are you hugging me? Oh, I'm so happy to see you here. Like, what? And that was just and that was only purely because they were just happy to see the representation there, and for someone that was going to be there to take care of them. So I was like, oh yeah, thank you. And then I was like, oh God, I guess I don't want to mess up your face now. I guess I got to do a good job. So, but
Let me follow up that statement with saying or asking everyone, how important is it to know or to see African Americans as much behind the camera as we are in front of the camera? So how important is that we continue to grow and bring more people into these fields behind the camera so we can continue to tell our story? Gabby, you directed a lot of films, so how is it important to have African American crew working behind the camera just as much as you have them in front of the camera?
Well, I'll speak from the perspective of just people of color because, I mean, I'm not African American, but I'm Black Caribbean.
Correct.
But I'm also part of this group called Sprasco, which is this new group of us, cinematographers and camera crew, who are people of color or just multi-ethnic. And we're from the US, we're from the Caribbean, we're from the UK. And Kira is actually a part of it. And it's so important because when you don't see your representation on set, it makes it much harder to tell the next generation or the generation after you that it is possible to reach there. And also to the question of, is there enough space? The fact of the matter is everybody has a story, and people of color or just people from multi-ethnic backgrounds, not the typical and I don't say white supremacy, but not mainstream Hollywood that we tend to see, which is changing now. The different stories have different meanings that people are unaware of, and we're seeing that a lot more now. We're being more educated now, so I think it's very, very important.
And Lupe, you actually double as these women of color on these sets. How many African Americans were you on set with working behind the camera on some of your films that you worked on?
A lot of times I'm the only one. It's interesting that you asked me. A couple of times I was told to go to the extra line because they don't know that I'm a day player, and sometimes I would just ignore. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then this is why I say, so if I say I'm a day player, okay, now what? oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm a stunt performer, but it's automatically, they assume that I'm an extra atmosphere, whatever, because of the color of my skin. And it's just annoying.
Mhm.
That is one reason why I wanted to educate young girls about careers behind the scene production, not, so they can kind of like start getting their mind, into it. And even if they go to college, they can minor in journalism, communications, or filmmaking, just something. But I want them to have like a plan B. So I just want to change the imbalance of gender behind the scene in production, not specifically stunts, because that's where the money can also be made. We just need to open their eyes because if you don't see it, you don't know it. So that is
Mhm.
really my purpose of actually starting the nonprofit that's been around for like 11 years because I want my girls to actually change the dynamic, and not only that, I know I've started something else called the Action Icon Stunt Women's Conference with educating young women, not young stunt performers, that think outside the box about coordinating. And so that's one of the things that I have been working on the last 7 years. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we weren't able to do it this year. But that's pretty much what I'm all about, changing the balance, educating people about thinking outside the box as far as entertainment, because there's so many different careers you can major. If you go to school for architect, you can build a set and grips, production, and post production. People don't know technology and post production. That's post production. Editor is
Yes.
your best. That's your best friend. The editor, music composer, mixing, ADR. There's just
Color.
so much that no one even has an idea about. They even have post production producers. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
So it's all
Storytellers.
about,
Yep.
yeah, production and post production. There's just so much out there, and I just think our people are unaware of it, and we need to let them know. And that's what I
Yeah.
do. It's important
Yeah.
because everybody doesn't have to be a director. They don't have to be a producer. They don't have to be actors. They don't have to be a screenwriter. And I really want to commend you for having behind the scenes. I've been trying for years to get film festivals to even bring a stunt coordinator or a stunt just to talk about production. Because you make
Yep.
more money in production from going from one show to another. And people don't understand that. Even
Yeah.
as a stunt performer, we may be there for a minute. I think if you're working in makeup here, you have a better opportunity to establish a relationship going for one show because we did it only for a short period of time. But you're there to establish a great relationship the whole time while we sit in our chair. Well, look, while we sit in our chairs, it's time for us to actually go on set. But you guys are on the set the whole time. So I really encourage all
Yeah.
of us to try to educate all our people to think about careers behind the scene and production and post production because there is just entirely too much money out there to be made. That's what I say.
Right. And for
And
those
that's
who don't know, there's pre-production, which is the planning before you get to set. Then there's the production where the camera's lights is up and everybody's on. And then you have post-production, like she mentioned, editing, the music supervisors, the post-production producers. So there is so many jobs and opportunities out there. So yes, I do definitely agree with you, LaFay. We definitely have to let everyone know so many jobs are out there. There is not just one field. There's hundreds of fields behind the scenes. Behind the scenes.
And just
yes.
to follow on that, Tasha, even in the light and grip department, just gaffers and grips, whether it's grip electric or, best boy or the best girl, the fact is we don't have a lot of females in those areas, and we don't have a lot of females of color. So those are
Mhm.
areas which we also need to fill as well. We do have a few, but we need to take up space.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's a
And
lot of room.
to
Yeah.
piggyback off of that, my Beyond the Combs Academy, that's one of the reasons why I decided to, my first level of teaching people is for, thank you for that, is the hairstylists, the barbers. Barbers, people don't know that barbers are very much in demand right now. The other thing that they don't know is you have to have your cosmetology license in order to work, to get into the union. So barbers, if you're out there, we have a program set up for you to do apprenticeship. You can still work in your barber shop and still be clocking your hours, so you can still be making money and clocking your hours to get your cosmetology license. So that's another program that we have within Beyond the Combs. Also, athletes like LaFay, I know she makes a lot of money, but anyway, But athletes coming out of high school, if you don't go to college, you have a skill, you have a talent. You can train and learn at Beyond the Combs. LaFay, I have your girls. I have Alima, Dorsey, and I have Ashley Tave that are training people to become stunt stunt performers. And then we have um, still photographers. You know, you don't have to be a headshot photographer. I have worked with one of my instructors, who is Kelsey McNeil. I have never seen another black still photographer on set. Every production, every show, every film has a still photographer. And he's one of the few, there may be two black still photographers on the West Coast. There are very few altogether. So whoever asked the question, we need we need a lot of people right now. We need a lot of crew members, but you have to educate yourself to learn how to become these parts of the crew.
Yeah.
I
And
just
even
want to say, I'm sorry. I think they need also understanding to volunteer to learn the craft, in order to excel and move to the next level. A lot of times within the business, everyone wants to be paid right away, and I just think it's important that we definitely understand volunteering is actually the key, and that's how people get to know who you are and your work ethics.
Hmm.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
and
I
also
wanted
I
to.
know
I
we talk about I know we talk about pre-production, production, and post, but a lot of times we also don't think about marketing, distribution, sales agents, financiers. Like even if you aren't, let's say, a very artsy person, maybe you're very good with business, and maybe you're very good with figures and numbers, but there is also space where that's concerned for people of color.
Yeah,
And yeah,
that's
I
true.
always say, whatever you majored in college is it's an area for you to work in entertainment. Whatever your heart desires, you can definitely. That's why I say have a plan B, sometimes a plan C. Try it first, and if that don't work, move back on over to your major.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's
Ty,
true.
you were saying something, Ty?
Say it again.
You were saying something?
Yeah, I was just talking earlier when was it Rhonda? We were talking about bringing not Rhonda, the stunt coordinator. What's your name?
LaFay.
Okay.
LaFay. So when she was saying how we need to look out for each other and how we, as far as females and women of color, that's pretty much also how I met Jay Tasha. She hired me. I guess through word of mouth, she heard. Um, my work and she asked for my resume and she told me about her company, Miss Everything Entertainment, and she literally loved my resume and hired me for the gigs. And I really appreciate that also because working in this field, it's all about networking. And if I wasn't at work when she was there, I would have never got the opportunity to even meet her. And, that platform that you have for women, Miss Everything Entertainment was definitely an icebreaker on my career also because I was able to work on, Charlie Wilson, and now that's like my uncle. Not my real uncle, but he's like someone that, I can clown around with and ask for advice if I needed to. And if I didn't, because of the opportunity for Miss Everything Entertainment, I would have never got that job to work with Charlie. And I was also his talent wrangler for three of his music videos. I was his talent wrangler. So thank you for the opportunity. I forgot to mention that, but I definitely appreciate that. Sorry, my life.
No problem, Ty.
Sorry.
I did want to say, I
I,
did want to
I
say
want to.
thank you for that.
Can I say that I want to thank Shirlena Allen for introducing me to Linda for coming on. Shirlena Allen is one of the baddest hairstylists, branding hairstylists in this industry, and she introduced me to Linda to be on this platform today. And she's also one of my instructors that will help to teach you how to brand yourself, whether it's music, NFL workers, many things. And I just wanted to thank Shirley and Allen. Thank you.
We thank you. I mean, it's definitely those people that we know first that bring us in here and that teach us. Like I said, Ty, thank you for
Networking.
being yeah, thank you for being a woman of color and about your business and working on set. And that's why I created Miss Everything Entertainment, to one, show women that there's a lot of different positions behind the scenes. Because I was one, the only African American on set, two, the only woman on set. And so I decided to create this lane to teach more women and how to be on set, learn the positions, and learn how, there's definitely enough room for everyone. LaFay, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to correct something. I want to say I did not have a mention for stunt woman, but I will be remiss if I don't mention the person who was my stunt coordinating mentor, which is Eddie Watkins. He's a second year director and stunt man on behalf of on a lot of shows. So I actually learned mostly all of my, and Insecure, excuse me. I learned a lot about stunt coordinating through him, and I just have to give a shout out to him because it was for him. He's a genius when it comes to stunt coordinating. Second, he's just amazing filmmaker in general. So I just want to say thank you and remember to say his name because I always forget to say his name, so I have to say Eddie Watkins. So I really appreciate him guiding me into stunt coordinating because we don't have very few black stunt women that are coordinated. In fact, two: April Wheaton White, excuse me, and LaFay Baker. So actually, and there's one going to Canada also who's doing extremely well. Which Canada's a little different from LA. The hustle there is different versus the hustle here. So right now, what we're trying to do is change the imbalance for black women as stunt coordinators to get jobs in studio films and independent films. So that's where I'm.
I want to I just want to give a testimony to what LaFay is saying, because my niece, she was a cheerleader, a dancer, and she came out, so she visited me in Hollywood. She didn't know what she wanted to do, anything. I said, you got to do something. I ain't just going to stay in my house and do nothing. So she started doing stunt classes, and her mother also told her, do stunt classes. And she just started going to this gym where a lot of stunt people were working out. Fast forward, she's in Black Panther. She's in the Marvel movie. Like, just in a year, and now she works all the time. She's on like The Walking Dead. Like, she just hasn't stopped working. So she got in as a young female stunt woman, and the industry is just wide open for her. She's working all the time. She loves it. She's successful. It's changed her life, and she didn't even know that was a thing, something out there. But she was physical. She was an athlete, and it was her. So the advice that she's saying is, like, firsthand know that it had to work for my niece.
I think I work with your niece also.
My niece?
On the on the TV show. Did she compete? Did she compete against like an obstacle? I can't think of the name of the show, but it was like an obstacle.
Nicolette Wright or
she was
Carrie
the only
Bernard?
black female.
No, my niece. Her name. What's her name? Look, now I can't even think of my niece's name. She got married. She got married. She changed her name. Her name is Denisha Roach, I think. Her name was Denisha Gillespie, but they changed it to Denisha Roach, and she is like the double for one of the Walking Dead lady who's number.
Yeah, that's her.
Two. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with her. I was her talent wrangler.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. On that, it was a TV show where she was the only black female, and of course they assigned me to her. But she competed against. It was like a competition where you like complete an obstacle course in so many minutes or seconds, and that's how I met her. Yeah.
That sounds like her. She started doing that, and as a stunt woman, and now she's a stunt woman. She was at Tyler Perry, falling off of a building. She just took her drive. Now she's so into it, and it only in like 2 years, she just kept going and going and going and getting hired because of the need was there.
Yeah, we're needed.
You're muted, Jay.
I'm sorry. I said I do have some questions. I want to get through some of these questions from the audience. A question from Deborah Ray Sims. She wants to know, is there a resource database or directory of Black behind-the-scenes professionals in Hollywood? Do you guys know of any databases or resources of connections that people can get in and work? I know we have Beyond the Combs Academy, but is there any other uh,
You, I know
places?
that
Facebook.
since I know that since May, like the movement that's been going on, I've gotten emails from I got an email from Netflix, I believe. They were building a database, um, and I don't know the name of it right now, but they're starting to be databases. But like I said, when I got into you and I asked if there was a black database, it's like, no, we can't get that information. But now they are actually different outside groups that are emailing people and building the databases. So I think it's going to be out there, but previously
I
before they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to segregate. They wanted everybody's the same, all of that. So they didn't want to
I'll,
separate.
I'll I will say that since last year, I've been partnering with the Los Angeles Urban League, and that's where I kind of peeled off Beyond the Combs. So President Michael Lawson and I are good friends, but they have behind the they have a below they have a some type of entertainment um, database there that you can call I would call the Los Angeles Urban League, because they do have some entertainment positions or an entity that they're trying to work out, and have classes there too.
And
And
Facebook,
then
you may
um,
be able to find some groups, some Facebook groups
but
as well.
you can
also
right.
for the camera community, if you're a DP or you are an aspiring DP or you want to be a part of the camera crew, whether you're a gaffer, cam operator, camera PA, we do have this community which is called Sprasco. It's on Instagram. It's newly formed, and Tommy Maddox is a part of it. Kira Kelly is a part of it. So just join it, and you can really reach out to a lot of people. And they have created a database online. I think it's sprasco.com, which is SPORASCO, and it's people of color cinematographers and camera crew
Find this
community.
that word.
Okay.
Can you type it in,
I'll
Jay
Um,
find it.
Tasha?
I
yes, we
know
will post
Tommy Maddox.
on our comments and I see Linda is in the comments on YouTube right now. She's posting all the information for everyone. I want to get to one more question that we have. This one is actually for Gabby. It says to the DP and director, what are the best camera and lenses for the first time independent filmmakers?
Oh, that's a great question. It depends on what level you're at. If you're just starting out, I started out on a DSLR camera or mirrorless cameras, and that would tend to be whether it's like, a Canon camera, it can be a 5D, a 7D, it can be in the T series. And right now, in terms of Sony, the A7 is very, very popular. There is also the prosumer cameras, which are the Blackmagic cameras, and they come in different models. So if you want to start out on a Blackmagic camera, maybe one of the pocket cameras is good, and they have different ones as well. You have the old one, which is this pocket cinema camera, and then you now have the new 6K, and you also have the 4K camera, and you also have the Ursa Mini Pro, so that's another one. And then the more high-end cameras, which are more for, and I shouldn't say the more high-end, but if you're thinking of film and digital and film, but digital film, then you may want to go with the Alexa. I'm not a huge fan of the red camera, but I do use it a lot for commercial work, specifically even for one agency out here as well. And I also use it when it's come out here, US productions or UK productions. We use the Alexa a lot. And we also use a Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro as well. But if you're just starting out, DSLR is good. And in terms of lenses, basic starter lenses, I guess you can go with Rockinons, or you can go with there's a Sigma Art Glass, which is also good. In the grand scheme of things, it's relatively cheap. So Rockinons may start from about 300 and change, and then the Sigma maybe around $800, and then you also have the Canon L Glass, and then you also have lenses specific to the mounts on the camera that you buy. And then my favorite lens is the cinema glass. Those are Cooks, but that's very pricey, so I won't. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You have a well-versed knowledge in all these different cameras. I didn't know there were so many.
Oh
But
Me
yes,
yes,
either.
that's why
there's
she's
so
the
many.
DP. That's why
That's
she's the DP. The DP is also the best friend.
that's what I hear a lot. The DP is also the director's best friend because they go
Yeah,
Yeah.
hand in hand with the lens, which cameras, and make sure they capture the best look for the film.
you make
Let's
sure
get
she
this
Yep.
executes the director's vision. Executes the
right.
director's vision.
Right.
No pressure.
We have
Oh,
another
I can answer
question.
that. I want to answer that question to the database. I found one. If they're interested still, um, it's from the handyfoundation.org. It's handyfoundation.org. They were creating a database. Um,
Mhm.
uh, People of color below the line, and I just looked up their website, and there's like mentor opportunities and a lot of things. So, but yeah, so that's it. It's the Handy
Well, I actually
Foundation.
have. Oh, great. We'll make sure we put all of these, and they can rewatch
Oh, you
this
told me to
video.
type it in the side, right? Let me type it on the side.
They can rewatch this video later, and they can find out exactly more about the databases and learn from this. This will be on YouTube for replays, just as well as our other ones. We had Boss Moves last month. We also had Voices of Africa, the African diaspora coming to Hollywood, and our first panel was the Black Writers panel. And this is just part one. I want to mention this is part one for behind the scenes. There is so many jobs that we cannot get them all at one time. So we will have part two next month. And please be tuned, stay tuned, and share this. I want to get into one last question before we get up out of here. This last question is from Melanie S. She has any advice on getting into the costume industry? I know we talked about hair and makeup, and this is more so in the arts department. Is there any information you can give her on getting into the costume industry?
Well, we
She can
we
start off
have.
also. I don't know how old she is, but and how much experience she has already. But she can also start off as a costume PA. And then, but if you're trying to get into the costume uh head, be the
Yeah,
costume head, you have to be a
wardrobe.
part of the union. Yeah, you got to be a part of the union. But they would definitely hire you as a PA without being a part of the union. But eventually, you'll get your credits to go towards union. But yeah, I don't know what her level is already, if she has
I
Well,
experience or.
I also heard that
learning.
sometimes if you work at the wardrobe houses and establish so many credits. I mean, I don't know how valid it is, but I know some people start off in the wardrobe costume place, getting their credits, and kind of
Yeah,
like move on, get have so many credits for the union. So that might be another avenue along with actually also doing some short movies, and you never know which one's going to convert or flip over.
yeah.
Well, also my academy has an instructor that does many. He's a personal to several people, and he always needs assistance. So just learning how to be an assistant. Uh, there are people that want to learn how to be an assistant first, because that is what you have to do: assist people in the wardrobe and costumes. So learning that to get on sets is one of the first things you have to do. So again, come over to Beyond the Comfort.
Yes, yes. Oh, this one is a really good question. I know I said that was the last question, but this one is from Jay Smith. She said, "Is it ever too late to get into the stunt industry?" You have some women who are not like kids but older. Is it ever too late to get into the stunt industry?
Well, you know,
Can
the
I just
industry is. Okay,
fall?
go ahead. Go ahead.
I said I can fall. Can I get in?
Oh yeah. You know that ageism is prevalent in the industry. Okay, let's not get twisted. That's one reason why I want to flip over because once you have a lot of knowledge and you kind of like have experience, sometimes they want to go to the younger girls. Okay, so It's a possibility that somebody give you opportunity that you can sit in the car, but let's be realistic about your body. You can confuse yourself as it's going to recover quickly as you're older, but let me tell you, it's not the same, and it doesn't recuperate from when I was 20 for sure. So I'm going to sit myself down and just coordinate these shows. But if you feel that your body is capable, I say go after it, but it definitely takes some time to get established. You're not going to get a job overnight because there's already so many people. It's such a small community. With some people, oh, they don't want nobody to know about. But now there's a lot of publicity about stunts, and the actors are doing their own stunts. People are more aware of stunt performers do exist. So I say go for it. Whatever your dreams are, go for it. You never know. It's a possibility. Unless you have a friend who's an actress and they want you to double them, best way, establish a relationship. So put me in that contract. So that's it.
That's
Um,
good.
I want to thank everyone for watching out here, and I want to definitely thank you all for being a panelist. Let's Ty, any last words, and can you let everybody know where they can find you and how they can network with you and get into the industry?
Yes. My Instagram is Ty the well, I'm sorry, Ty period the assistant. After doing production assistant, of course, I migrated to talent coordinator, and that's how I started getting gigs as an assistant. So I am assistant to the celebrities today. So that's why my Instagram is Ty the assistant. Piggyback off the production part. For I just wanted to say this for the production assistants. Once you join, also have another show backed up if you are a part of, because once the show completes after 6 to 8 weeks, it's hard to get another job. I want to say that earlier, that there's going to be times where you don't have a gig at all. And I don't want people to think that that's how the production world is, that you're always constantly working. No, it's going to be times where you don't have any money. Just make sure you save if you're going to be a production assistant, and then eventually move up so that you can get the big money. That's all.
I
Thank you
wanted to
so
say
much for
something
being
about the production assistant. There's another company called Streetlights. Are you familiar with Streetlights? It's a production assistant where for commercials, and they train young kids about being production assistants, and they actually get paid. It's called Streetlights. So this for young kids
Mm-hmm.
18 to 25. So that's another avenue if you're interested. Build your resume, be a production assistant, and learn about the many facets in the industry. So that's I just want to throw that resource out there because that's a good way to start as a production assistant.
Thank you so much for that. Um, I want to say thank you to Rhonda O'Neill, amazing veteran hairstylist. Can you go ahead and let them know where they can find you and how they can, learn more and network with you, or if you are hiring or if your academy is taking any classes currently?
Well, actually, you can go on to again www.beyondthecombs.academy, www.beyondthecombs.academy. Also, Instagram, Beyond the Combs Academy. And tomorrow, actually, I will have Sam Fine in the house. If any of you all know, he's an amazing makeup artist, and he will be teaching a class. But what I would like to say is, it's never too late to me to be in this industry, whether you're below the line or above the line. I didn't get into the union into my 40s. One of the reasons why Beyond the Combs was so important as a title for me for my book as well as my academy was because I would get calls from people that were still standing behind the chair at 60 years old, and they were saying, and at 50 and at 40, they wanted to know, what else can I do besides standing behind the chair? What else? Is there anything else? Because they needed insurance. They needed, health insurance and things for their family. So that's why I've created this safe space, this family, because there are ways. If you don't get into the union, there are still music videos, there are commercials, there are other areas until you get into the union. So get with people that are doing what you want to do.
Thank you so much for that. And please, everybody, go to Beyond the Combs dot Academy and to
Yay!
here you go. Thank you so much for being here. LaFay, I want to go ahead and thank you for being here. And can you let everybody know where they can find you as well as any last words?
Yeah, LaFay Baker at stunts.com or www.lafaybaker.com. No, wait, LaFay Baker Stunts at Gmail. Excuse me. That's how you can reach me personally. And then my website is www.lafaybaker.com. Pretty much. And for my nonprofit, and like I said, mine is specifically for young girls over 18, but I would love to partner up with my lady friend over there, Beyond the Coast, to send over some of my young girls once they turn 18 so they can kind of like embellish and perfect their skills as well. So that's one thing. And then we have the Action Icon Awards.com. So that's pretty much where you can reach me. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part and share the knowledge and the information because I just really want our people to know that these careers are out there and we need to get with it and get some of this money. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Thank you so much. We're glad to have you here. Gabrielle, I want to go ahead and thank you so much for being a part of this behind the scenes panel. Can you go ahead and let people know where they can find you?
Thank you for having me. You can find me at Gabrielle_Blackwood. That's GABRIELLE_BLACKWOOD. And then any last words? Go out, shoot, and if you're interested in deeping in particular, go out, shoot. Find new locations that inspire you. If you are interested in writing, we need more stories from people of color. We do have them, but we need more of them. So write, and not just write, share it with the rest of the world. We are an open platform right now, specifically during these times. So everything is online. Yes, going back to DPing, if you're interested in DPing, we have lots of forums online. We also have communities which are now open online. So there's Sparasco, which is a people of color or multi-ethnic community for camera people. And there's also Made in Her Image, which is, I think, for a younger generation for Black girls. I think Malika, the Brave, runs that. So also check that out as well. And then also, I'm a colorist. If you're interested, even if you don't edit, if you're interested in color and just bring out the most in footage, then there are forums online for that as well. There are YouTube videos. And if you're interested in financing, because we need more stories on screen, but we also need financiers and backers to bring them to screen. So financiers, sales agents, if you want to go in anything in distribution, marketers, then yeah, we need you.
Thank you so much for being here, and your knowledge was definitely helpful for a lot of young women and a lot of men, people of color, to get into this industry. So we want to thank you so much for being here, and we can't wait to see your project. 2021, we've got some movies coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Thank you so much for being here. And last but not least, we have the amazing makeup artist, Mr. Cole Benson. Thank you so much for being here. Can you let them know where they can find you and any last words?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram. I've been doing it since the pandemic. I wasn't on it before, but I kind of like it now. Find me on Instagram at Beat by Cool. So it's BEAT by Cool, COOL. You can also email me at coolmakeup@gmail.com. Yeah, I'm an open book. If anybody has any questions, or they want to email me, I'm happy to answer them. Also, if you're a director and you're looking for an actor, I love to audition for you, or if you know anything for casting. And that's it. I wish everybody the best. Follow your dreams. Surround yourself with people that you want to be like, and just go get it. Go get them.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all of my panelists. We appreciate this. And I want to definitely give a thank you. Go ahead, Benson.
Sorry. I'm also going to be teaching at Rhonda's school, Beyond the Combs Academy. So if you guys want to check me out there and come take a class, I'll be teaching classes at Beyond the Combs Academy.
Definitely. Please, guys, go over there and learn how to get into the industry from behind the scenes. This was just part one, so thank you all for being here. This was part one of Behind the Scenes. We will get into part two next month. I do want to tell everybody to please go over to PAFF.org/donate so we can continue on these free education for all of you guys to learn about the Pan-African Film Festival, to learn about the industry, and to educate yourself on how to maneuver within entertainment. I definitely want to thank you to Babu as well as Asantewa for all of their years of Pan-African Film Festival for the last 29 years. I can't believe it's been 29 years that they have been pushing forward this dream. I personally want to thank you guys. And I want to thank Linda for having me moderate this panel and co-produce this panel to help bring more light to education in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. And thank you to our sponsor, Proby's Tax and Accounting. We appreciate you, and we want to continue moving this forward. Thank you all. Have a good day.